So today's topic is a case study on Kaiser Permanente, where Sanjay Kapoor, an executive there, successfully implemented a very comprehensive, robust mindfulness program and has an excellent platform that supports the program. So Sanjay Kapoor, he is an executive and well-being coach, as well as a healthcare leader. He is passionate about equity, inclusion, and diversity at work, reducing mental health stigma, and well-being initiatives. His personal experiences using mindfulness meditation to treat mental health conditions inspired him to co-create an enterprise-wide collaborative mindfulness program, MindfulHub. That's the name of his program, MindfulHub, which has enhanced employee satisfaction, strengthened relationships, and increased participants' compassion for themselves and others. Sanjay is a mindfulness facilitator, and he has practiced the Sudarshan Kriya. Did I say that right, Sanjay? Yeah. Okay. It's a breathing technique and meditation regularly, and he's been doing this for many years. Sanjay, I'm handing over the mic to you. Take it away.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Heather and Satya, for inviting me, and thank you all for joining today. It's my pleasure to be here, and I'm, so I was looking at, the pop-up comes up, where were you today, right? Those Google alerts. So it came up today, and guess what? Today I was in India, my former university in Pantnagar, and giving talk on mindfulness, So that was kind of interesting coincidence. Just wanted to share. And today is also one of the biggest festival for us. It's a Tihar and Diwali and Festival of Light, So I hope to bring some little bit of knowledge that can bring lights to others. So my little bit about me, so little more about me is so I grew up in India, and then I worked in India for nonprofits, and also then moved to Nepal and worked there for nonprofits, mostly in the rural area. And then in 2000 I relocated here in the United States, and here also again I worked for number of nonprofits, environmental companies, and then started working for Kaiser and Permanente in 2003. So since there I've been here, and so it's almost 21 years. And with that, also an announcement is from next year, I'm going to be leaving and pursuing, Kaiser Permanente, and pursuing full-time, mindfulness and my passion on the other aspect. So that's a little bit about me. And so how, so please interrupt, if you have a question or afterwards, whatever works. But it's more like a conversation rather than presentation. I have a little deck that will guide me, so I'll go back and forth over there. But what, so you're, what you said, Heather, about your mission and goal is to connect business and people, right? So individual. So it started with that, so when many, over a decade ago, so I was diagnosed with mental health, anxiety, depression, and a number of PTSD, and number of things. And then it was pretty low time for me at that time. So then, then I, one of my friend, whose name is also Sanjay, and he said, why don't you come again to, to meditation and mindfulness? And I used to do when I was growing up meditation, but drifted away. And then he brought me back, and then I started practicing it. And that gave me, again, centeredness and help manage my condition and be productive and centered. So I started kind of thinking about, it's benefiting me so much, right? So, and most of the time we spend at work, awake time, we are at work. And and I want to take this to others in the organization. And with that thought, employee taking to the organization part, right? So then I went to in our, we used to be in Burbank, in a co-located in one Kaiser building, lot the marketing program, so around 200-300 people. And then we had a wellness committee. I went there. I said, I want to offer mindfulness. Then I got certification and things like that in this building. And whoever will come, we'll just do it once a week on Tuesday, 11 o'clock. So this is how it started in person. So I put flyers and invited. So first time maybe 3-4 people came, and next time there were like 60 people in the room. So we didn't have even a place to sit, right? So and it became really popular. Employee started my fellow employees, they started enjoying it, and they said, offer more. So then I put together a simple SharePoint site, and then kind of putting it their schedule. Schedule was standard, so Tuesday 11 o'clock, right? But it was there, and some other resources. And then I was traveling. Other people are traveling. They said, it was before the pandemic. A few years before the pandemic, and said, we would love to join this, but we are traveling, and and you are also traveling, so we don't want to miss this. So I said, okay, so let's do it online. So then I started doing it online, WebEx, and then so slowly. So that got it, based on that got me thinking. I said, I'm only one person. I'm only giving 30 minutes a day, and people want this, and they come back and they enjoying it, they want this. How do I make it, bring it to more people, and make it more accessible? And so with the simple things, and what I wanted to keep in mind was keeping it simple, easy for people to join, and it's everyone is welcome, very simple principles, and everyone is welcome, and also have option to come and listen to it if they want to. And with that simple goal, I said, okay, let me find, if I can find 5 more people or 4 more people, then we can offer it every day. So then I went started looking for 4 more people who are interested in mindfulness and meditation. Doesn't matter what practices they have, what faith or belief, or so that's what then I started looking for those individual. And in that, I came across another person in the organization who was doing similar thing, Vivian, and another part of the organization. We got connected, and I, at that time, then I reached out to other people, and we found more people interested. Then I had created one program at Kaiser, which was called Stretch at KP. So that means Stretch at KP was a program that was based on my innovation idea called talent exchange. So that means if I have something to a skill or passion, I can offer it to other employees or department, and vice versa. You can exchange it, right? So through this program, I said, I need volunteer, because and then I put it together. I said, I am looking for 4 or 5 volunteer to help me build this program, and so I got quickly 4 or 5 hands raised, and with that, we said, I just need only half an hour to 1 hour of your time per week. Can we do that? And they said yes. And we put together a website, simple website, and then we recruited more facilitator, and then now they are, I was looking at it, almost 4 to 5 live session every day at work, so different timing and different ones, and from 4 or 5 people to crew to now 50 or so volunteers. And it has started with a $0 investment and 0 FTE, and it's and the timing was so perfect. I mean, coincidentally, I don't know what the right term is, but but it's right before the pandemic we launched. And so it helped so many people during that because healthcare workers were very much impacted, and our nurses, our doctors, and a lot of the people in the field, they were under so much stress, and this gave them kind of, even for a few minutes were able to join. It gave them kind of peace and some calmness, centeredness. And we got so many. So the aspect. So that was few things I wanted to recap. One is simple, then leveraging people's passion. Then the other thing is, then we another important part was to find it for people to join also easy. So what we did is we did still it's I created one simple login for people, one simple meeting invite, and we used that team invite for we used it for every single one session. So once you attend it, it's on you. You are on the chat, so you can. So it brought a community. It built a community together with that, right? So even if you are not able to attend, you see the chat and the comments going through, in the background, and you feel you're part of the mindfulness uh, work. Work. And so the other thing was lesson was important was to because you can do we did bottom up and then top down also, right? So top down is so then it was started as a bottom up. Usually these programs start with the sponsor and then go down. So we started, and I went and looked for who would be a right sponsor. So we found wonderful sponsor, our employee well-being Maria D and Laura Long, who's the vice president equity, inclusion, and diversity in Kaiser Permanente. So those are our kind of co-sponsor in there, because that's important if you want to get in a corporate setting, because you have to have some umbrella and tie in. Otherwise, it could be problematic. Like for compliance purpose, for regulatory, for various reasons. If you have something, then you have a channel to go through. So it can start from the bottom, but you have to connect with the top somehow. And with another aspect, so I'm jumping around, I'm not following a script, so please interrupt me. And so what we started, we said, okay, to show the productivity and why it's beneficial, why Kaiser Permanente will even embrace this program, is to show why people come here, how they're benefiting, and how organization is benefiting. So right from the early on, so we created a survey, whenever people, and simple survey, simple, everything is, the keyword is making it simple and available. So right when people join, so we had a one survey, we reuse it all the time. So link, and when people join after the session, we put a link in the session, say, please take a minute and provide feedback, because they just experience it. They provide feedback, and that measures, that has question around why you join, how it helps, and so both personally and organizational level, how it helps your productivity, your well-being, your efficiency, creativity, different things. And then we also have like a net promoter kind of a score, 1 to 10, because that can give more like accuracy of why. So out of 10, we had almost 4,000 survey recently, and that's 4 point, no, not 4 point, 9 point, 7 or something in net promoter. That's pretty high, so why people come. And that gives us, then we started taking that to our leadership. Say, here's a productivity, and it's not only for employee well-being, but here are the ROI. You look for ROI, here it is. You see how it's benefiting, and those are solid data, and that's so then now it's it started just like a side program, and now it became turned into a national program, and which is run completely still by volunteer. And and it's being, for employee well-being, it's being promoted by various resources. People don't even know, it's created by volunteer, and it's being, for use in a medical area, not offered to members, outside patient, because then we have to have another layer of, HIPAA and all those compliance. So just for employee well-being, but there's some part of it that goes for the everyone, general public. But this is what program is. And so in the website, so let me share. Maybe now will be a is that okay? Let me really see if I'm able to share. I'll just share my desktop, this one. So I think it's just might be easier. So can you see my desktop? No?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So many companies, these are some just, kind of many companies are uh, uh, including Kaiser Permanente, they are embracing mindfulness. I don't need to tell you that because you all are practitioner here. And so this is something, why I think you have to connect to for corporate, why it's a winning strategy for you, right? So that also we did, and then and how it helps with the relationship, and what are the benefits, right? So those are the things are very important for in the workplace, for leaders to get traction, even though the experience they say, yeah, but still there's a hesitancy. People think it's a new agey thing, or some things it's promoting Hinduism, Buddhism. So you have to make it very secular program for so everyone is welcome. And that's what when we had facilitator from various practices, we brought them together and had a very secular kind of script for people, so they can follow there, but within that guideline, so it doesn't feel that anyone is not welcome. So everyone can relate it. So and it's also then we try to address because a lot of equity, inclusion, diversity effort is going on. So how it's helping promoting equity, inclusion, and diversity, because all happens in the mind, right? So a lot of it. So all those biases and how mindfulness can create those by stop practice or by different things for a tool to help with mitigate these biases. So addressing those at corporate level. And then I also started a series for mindful leadership for other leaders in the organization. And this is the kind of a snapshot of because I was not able to do the live here. It was giving me issues, so I just took a snapshot. And so this is like how our that Mindful Hub site looks like. Simple, and it's on SharePoint currently, and that has session advertise. I'll show you. And then we have an internal social media platform, Mindful Hub. Under Mindful Hub is Yammer community. I don't know if you're aware of it. It's like a Facebook for workplace in some sense. So it's a community that people can provide comments and things like that. And then on-demand resources is recordings of these sessions, and people can come anytime, and listen to, and curated by time rather than, and themes too. So if you have 5 minute, 1 minute, so like that. And then similar other practices, HeartMath is another one, and FAQ community, and newsletter also we have. So just an overview. And I want to, I think, Heather, Satya, how much time I have? I don't want to go over time, but please let me know if I'm going too much.
So, no, you're good.
Yeah, okay.
You're good.
Okay. So, and this is the schedule. Looks like, it's from a little bit back, but you can see how it's all full. These are live session, and anyone can click on this, and it'll take you to our live sessions. Whenever they're happening, and then our Kaiser Permanente have around between 225 to 1,000 to 250,000 employees, and they are located everywhere. So we also made sure that every time zone from Hawaii to Mid-Atlantic, and everyone can join. So spread it around some of the program. And is there something in the chat? I just saw a comment. Oh no, are we good? So let me know, because I don't want to switch back and forth.
So,
I was requesting if
yeah, I have one too. Go ahead, Satya.
No, I was requesting if you could do the full screen.
Oh, full screen. Okay, let me see.
Yeah.
Sanjay, I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
So when you said you were doing the metrics, which I think is really critical, particularly in an organizational environment, what categories were you measuring?
Yeah, can you see my screen?
I can see. Is this what you're doing right now?
Yeah, this is
Oh,
what,
oh my God,
yeah,
how funny!
yeah. So these are, yeah. So these are, why. So some of the key one is these are the things, self-improve, boost creativity, sharpen mind. So these are the things we were measuring, including some of those are free-flowing comments text. That's a really gold mine of people, and I still have to go through some, and so these are some of the categories.
And then I had another question. Is the scheduling, is that part of the SharePoint platform, or is it like a Google Outlook thing?
It's SharePoint, but it can be done on Google Outlook. So SharePoint, but you can, if you want, we have a way to add to your calendar, and you click here, and that it'll add to your regular Outlook calendar, or other calendars. So people can add it, and then also in Outlook you can import the MindfulHub calendar, so it's side by side. You can see two calendars at the same time, so it makes it easier. So all the administrative and these kind of technical things, we made it very simple. Simplicity is the key, because no one wants too many hassle to log on and things like that. So making it simple to join and stay. So yeah. So let's see. Let's go to the. So these are some of those free, kind of flowing comments. Just a few of them. So and try to put it together in a. So, and these we share with the leaders, time to time through our newsletter, and also through annual annual report, put by, again, all volunteer, and share and distribute widely to keep, in the future, when they, when we want to expand, need resources, then we will have, already now. I mean, so far we haven't needed much, but we can always do more to create more. So yeah, I'll give them just a shot, but you can see some sentiments coming through, right? So this is what I'm kind of doing now, from January, February. So this is leveraging that and sharing this to wider outside. So I just wanted to share really quickly. So today, because it's Diwali, so I thought, okay, I'll put it out there, in the universe. And I'm sure, Heather and Satya, we will probably find a way to work together on this. So I'm going to stop here, and thank you so much. But I can take any questions. I went through quickly, but happy to not overstay the welcome. And I know we had 15 minutes, but welcome any questions. So I'm gonna stop sharing. And
Great. Yeah, Kaylin, go for it.
So I've worked for corporations, state agencies, governments, and all that. And when you're talking about implementing the program and how you kind of just started where you started, and then eventually kind of got buy-in from the top because they saw how beneficial it was, what would your advice or just kind of outlook on, if you're not in the organization necessarily, if you're like external, or if you're a teacher and you're trying to, I guess, convince a company that this is good for your company. Because I find that's the hardest thing is like, if you're a therapist, a counselor like that, you already kind of understand mindfulness, but sometimes like really high up corporate people, they don't connect it, which is why Center for Mindful Business is so great, because we're kind of bridging that gap. But how, in your experience, have you like spoken to people within Kaiser Permanente who are quote unquote higher up, and like, is it just simply through like the feedback you were getting, the statistics, stuff like that? Or was there anything else that really stuck in their mind of like, yes, this is something we have to keep, we have to grow, and all of that? Kind of a question.
Yeah. I think the few things, that's such an important question. Thank you for asking that, because in corporate world, the bottom line, everyone is talking about the bottom line, and it's about the revenue, right? So which is important to run these organization. So it's still, I think it's many companies, it's very hard to convince the leader. But there are ways. The way is understanding the political map within the organization, right? So if you just go and talk to anyone, it might not get traction. For example, I looked at who might be inclined to listen about this. So in the executive political map is for so doing a little bit of search. Who is inclined for mindfulness, who is who can have synergy in their program, like employee well-being, really natural fit, right? This is employee well-being, and it can be a synergistic relation, partnership. So employee well-being would be a really good place. Human resources, right? Then looking at I looked equity, inclusion, and diversity. I knew I found out that Laura Long, in our organization, she believes in it. She finds, so finding those allies, it takes some time finding those allies and reaching out to them, rather than just any CEO or CFOs, because they will have different. So if they are inclined, then yes, and then through them, I think making those you can leverage this case study. For example, you can leverage other, that's why I started showing that little word cloud about, how many companies are doing. And I said, I kind of asked the provoking thing. I said, wouldn't you want, because many of those are your customer, Kaiser Permanente. So those are your customer. They are embracing, including Google and all those are your customer. They are embracing mindfulness. Wouldn't you like to be on that list and be like, lead the way? Because you're a healthcare organization, and here are the evidence which shows how it helps, also the bottom line. So, and you can even leverage that with your company. So that, gave them because customer, we have to tie with their priorities with this. I think that's where the key is. Hopefully that answer some, but yeah.
I want to add two pieces, and I totally agree with what Sanjay is saying. And I would add that looking for people personally that share your values. That's how I got into George Mason University, because my former graduate practicum advisor is still there, and that's how I got in there. Also, in a more corporate environment, the case studies, yes, and then the return on investment. So, sharing the numbers. Yeah. And if you're talking to someone in HR, thinking about what they care about, it's always what your audience cares about, and speaking their language.
Excellent. Yeah, that's exactly what it is,
Thank you.
So because you have to have a same kind of language, right? Otherwise, the communication will go like this, not like this. So CFO is going to care about the numbers. Employee well-being, people are going to care about, how it's impacting employee. HR is going to care about the attrition, Yeah. Yes, please. Keith.
Yes, Sanjay, I really liked how in your story you push against the stigma of mental illness. And In particular, I am interested in adult children of parents with severe mental illness. I know we are a um, invisible part of the population, mostly. And I'm wondering if in your travels you have come across any data points that might be related to families and mental illness.
The simple answer is no. I have not, the solid data or point I have not, but I have many friends, who have loved ones with mental, illness, and so. Um, but what is the question underneath the question? You have something, Keith, right? So what would be?
Yeah, the question underneath the question is that I know from experience that mindfulness is very healing for people who have experienced mental illness in the family, because just by the fact of that trauma, there is lots of lots of leftover stuff
Yeah,
from that experience, and I found that mindfulness is very effective in dealing with that.
yeah,
And I know on the job in an organization, there are many of us that are carrying that baggage, and it goes unseen, unknown. And I would like to make mindfulness available for those people.
yeah. Yeah, no, excellent. So so as I said in my journey, it started with so there were another innovation that was in Kaiser, it was many years ago, was reducing the stigma part. So part of that one was speaking up, talking about mental health, and then you might have seen Kaiser Permanente's around the same time come uh, uh, talking about the mental health, so find your words campaign. So it was around the same time, and I started with the internal employee that then also promoting the NAMI walks, and through that yeah, NAMI walk. And then the other thing is also making awareness of the words, which can be stigmatizing, awareness about those, they have power, right? Those, and part of it was also mindfulness that, years later, then we turned into this program. So many of our, but those are interesting things, separately, we never segmented those, but number of those, probably like, last number I was looking at, around 40,000 people, 30 to 40,000 people, including the tailored program and all that, participated in our, over 3 years in this mindfulness program. So all of those, I'm pretty sure they're a segment of, parents and loved ones of people with, who have mental illness. But I've never looked at it. That's a very interesting, um, way of maybe offering the support. But we did like time to time we tailored program for like healthcare worker, for some time for um, uh, like disaster stricken areas and things like that. We did some volunteer meditation offerings. So, but excellent, that makes my gears are churning
Thank you.
here.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sanjay. Yeah, yeah, and thank you for bringing up NAMI too. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great organization.
Anna or Jen, do you have any questions?
I do. Thank you. Thank you so much. That was really, really wonderful and inspiring. And I'm curious if you could talk a little bit more about the content of the meditations that were being offered, especially when they became, you were saying like 50 different volunteers. I'm specifically curious if, of course, you were dealing with things like stress reduction and increasing focus, all those sort of the more standard things that are doing in businesses and corporations. And I'm curious if there was also an expansion into other areas or what came up.
Yeah. So let me pull up, go back to the let's see if I'm able to, but I will. So they were not only one. So that I think I'm going back to the facilitator, right? So I think in corporate mindfulness, you cannot have same kind of people with the same belief and same everything. So the key is bringing whatever practices they have as long as they have training, they have, they have, it doesn't have to be huge certification or something, because it's not possible in everyone. But I think that's where you can, Heather, I'm looking at you and Satya, maybe some partnership can happen for corporate, they can certify it through them and then bring it, to the, organization, is because that was, if I were to create barrier by, you have to have so many years of those things, it would be very difficult for me to leverage. So whatever practices they have, so what we did was we form a small, like Vivian and I and a couple of other people, we said, okay, come, so if you have practice, we had a intake for volunteer. They come and then we meet with them. We say, okay, tell us, show, kind of do audition kind of, in a way, software. So, and when they have credential, we do audition. Then we said, would you like to have some of our feedback, or are you open to it? And then we provide some feedback, how you can, for the, he said it's great, but for the workplace, these are the suggestions we have. Does that sound good? Then we had a standard, like let me see if I will be able to share that, but we had a facilitator intake. In that way, we walk them through, okay, these are the things, you cannot start a meditation with Om at workplace, for example, right? You cannot, yeah, so because, that will turn off a lot of people, right? So, so those kind of things, you can't, really namaste, even though it's a greeting, but people relate with, that, so you can have a neutral greeting, have a good day. It's the same thing, and so whatever it is, right? So those guidelines we put together, and the practices were from loving kindness to, minute to arrive practice we followed. Then we have 3 center check-ins, body scan, to even Tai Chi, yoga, to all the related heart math, practice, like quick coherence techniques, and what else? I'm trying to go through. Okay, let me pull up the calendar. Then
Actually, Sanjay, we have about 5 minutes left.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I just want to be respectful of people's time. Thank you so much for speaking to us today. How do people connect with you after this call?
So after this, so I can put my email and site. It's just a draft site. It's going to evolve, but I just wanted, because of the auspicious day, I thought, okay, let me do this, today. So it's let me cut and paste in the chat, if that's okay.
Yeah. And can you verbally say it?
Yeah, it's connected mindful living
Uh-huh.
at gmail.com, and connected mindful living .com. So
Okay, and then you're on LinkedIn, correct? So people can
LinkedIn,
connect with
yeah.
you on LinkedIn. Wonderful.
And my LinkedIn is, Sanjay Kapoor 1, I think, and I will find it and put it in the chat while you close. So, but thank you so much for having me, and